That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward, and it's an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm is going forward, and it's an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm is going forward, and it's an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm is going forward, and it's an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Friday night.
Welcome to another bad call where the refs aren't the only ones who get it wrong. What's poppin'?
Not much. Robbo, thank you for that follow. Your boy Godlick, what is going on, my dude? Yeah, welcome to the football version of another bad call. Justin, for just your knowledge, your boy Godlike, he's a good new follower. He hopped in the stream the other night. He's been chit chatting. Good dude. He's come to talk some football with us.
I like it.
How are you doing tonight, there, Mr. Justin?
Feeling good. It's I only worked half a day of work today, so came home, got a lift session in. I've been hitting the weights here for a few weeks now. Starting to feel better. You know,
Good.
I feel good that I'm getting daily activity anyway. So that part of it's good. I'd like to win some money. I had a couple of really good lineups last week. Just not good enough to get me to cover all my other lineups.
Yeah, that I mean, it was classic week 17 basically last week. We started playing, I mean, you've been playing it, and I started playing in that $4 super booster enter $4 if you're in the top 200, right? Top 200, you win 100. And I, for the third time, have just come up short. 2 other times I got knocked out of the money in the last 5 minutes, and basically the same thing sort of happened this last week. But if you did not have 200 points, you weren't placing in the top 200, which that's saying something, because the other times where I missed, the 200 cutoff was like 168 or 170. So a big jump in week 17.
Yeah, a lot of points scored. I just missed cashing in that again this week. I think I've hit it twice this year, but just missed it. I think I was like a point out of the money, which was pretty brutal. My best lineup though was in the play action, where I put up 210, just over 210 points with a Cousins Jefferson stack that also had Madison in it, AJ Brown, Brandon Cooks.
Good plays there.
Michael Gallup was the one that missed there.
Yep.
If I play Marvin Jones there, I win all the money. So that's
the Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb didn't play the way it should have. I had an okay week. I'm not going to complain really, because coming out of the main slate, I was up 10 cents. And what do we say? If you don't lose money, you're winning. So I took that. The showdown, I did the same thing. I won $1 profit there, but I hit my first touchdown scored bet, which put me up like $15-20 on the day, and not a bad way to end the season. Just I'm still a little salty about the missed super booster for 3 weeks. This one not so much, because I was 10 points out, but the other ones where I was less than 2 points and less than a point the one time are really hard to swallow. But I'm ready to go on. And
sweet. Yeah, I got some props down this weekend. I'm sure I'll get some more, but let's talk the main slates here real quick. Why don't you go ahead and start us off with the Saturday slate? First game up is Colts at the Bills, which is coming in with an over-under of 51, and the Bills are currently favored by 6.
Yeah, so real quick before we get into that, your boy, you're having connection issues. I'm sorry to hear about that. We'll be around. You haven't seen one of these before. When we get to talking football, it takes a while. So we'll be here for a little bit. You'll be good to go. Did I share my 10-cent profit? Is that what you're asking? No, I did not share my 10-cent profit. I got 2 kids I got to worry about.
College fun, y'all.
So full disclosure, this has been one of those weeks. The research is low, so don't take any of this as gospel. So let's talk about this first game. Okay, you've got Buffalo and Indy, and we've got 2 teams trending in interesting directions here. So Indy's defense at the beginning of the year was just tough, vaunted defense. And as you got kind of towards the back half of the year, you kind of saw the chink in the armor a little bit. Like it started to loosen up, giving up some points. And what sticks out is the Steelers game against Indy, where Steelers offense, who was struggling to do anything, the week 16, right? Coming into week 16, just hadn't been able to do anything. Basically in the second half of that game, scores 3 touchdowns or whatever. And you're like, wait a second, what happened to this Indy defense? And you've got a Buffalo offense that has been doing nothing but elevating their game basically from week to week since like week 10, I want to say. So this one should be really interesting as far as how this goes. I have the Bills winning this game. The only way for me that I see this game stays close is if the Colts can score first and maybe go up like 10. Because I think if they fall behind early, they're not built to come from behind. They're not built to keep up with the Bills. They are a run first team. They don't have the monster receivers to have the big pass game. So if they fall behind, this is the Bills to lose.
Yeah, I mean, you got Phillip Rivers there. He's the vet. He's not afraid to sling it around, but I don't think he's got the firepower to deal with the Colts.
And that's my thing. I mean, you've got a Buffalo defense that is susceptible to run. They are susceptible to pass. They're not a great defense, but
they're not great,
Colts aren't
but they're
built.
decent.
Yeah, the Colts aren't built to go into a pass heavy game, and once they're behind, I just don't see it.
So the Bills, with Allen really starting to hit on all cylinders, he's got great connections with his receivers. They don't really run the ball all that great as a team. They're a lot more heavy pass. But they've got Diggs, who's just been phenomenal for him, and then they're getting John Brown back.
Which is good because Diggs is questionable, and they may be without Beasley.
Yeah, I don't think Diggs is too much of a worry. Beasley may not play, but you've also got Gabriel Davis and Ian McKenzie that have shown that they can take the ball to the house too. So
he's not available on the slate, but they signed Kenny Stills as like a insurance, if I'm not mistaken. But I think Diggs, like you said, Diggs is going to play. He's going to play. It's just going to be a matter of how much that questionable tag actually affects his play.
So since week 9, Diggs has no fewer than 7 receptions in every game. 7 receptions. That's not targets. He's just been absolutely on fire, and I don't think that Indy can contain him. So they've really started to wither as the season has progressed. The running backs in this game, I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor's been hot lately, and take your pick between Singletary or Moss. I mean, I probably like Singletary's receiving upside a little bit better as far as somebody who could break it. We've seen Zach Moss score on occasion, but we see Robbo there shouting out Diggs. He's predicting the over on the 90.5 receiving yards. So
Robbo, thanks for popping in. Really appreciate you stopping by. 100%. I totally agree. The over under, you take the over on the 90.5. Like, I don't think that's even up for debate. I think that's low. Actually, I'm kind of surprised that that's where they're at. But
if I'm betting this game, I'm probably betting the over on the total, and I'm probably taking the Bills, even giving up the points, especially now that it dropped below 7.
Ooh, I got to pull up my Twitch feed. Your boy is saying we're frozen, which is never good. We're not good looking while we're moving. We're really not good when we're just stuck still. Sorry to hear that, man. I'm pulling up that's a Twitch thing. Nope, there we go. Okay, Twitch is running just fine. All right. Yeah, sorry, you boy, about that. So not a whole lot to talk about for me in this game. Like I said, just when I'm looking at it, definitely you want some shares of Allen. You want some shares of Diggs. If you were to pick another receiver right now for Buffalo, who you taking?
I think
Go
Brown,
GPP. You know I roll GPP, and I mean there's
Yeah.
really not a bad play, but just GPP play who you're taking.
I think Brown is probably like if you're trying to be contrarian and fade Diggs in a lineup, I'm probably picking Brown. He looked pretty good last week. They weren't afraid to use him coming off the injury. They, you know, they put it on a Miami team that had everything to play for last week when the Bills really didn't. They pretty much showed their firepower and then called off the dogs, and they still put up 56 points. It was
The funny thing is that the dog that they called off basically was a practice squad running back that ran all over them and then got sent back to the practice squad on Monday. The Miami team that really has had a pretty good season once Uncle Fitzmagic there wasn't able to play, it just kind of deflated that balloon. But that's a whole separate conversation. So
are you playing either one of these defenses?
no. For the Saturday slate, no, I am not.
Okay.
I just don't like it. I don't see either one of them as having a ton of scoring potential to begin with. I mean, Rivers does turn the ball over, and especially if they're playing from behind, there's that option. But correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to look at the Bills are the highest priced defense. So to me, we've talked about this. There's just not enough to gain from that point. So
yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next game then. We've got the Rams at Seattle. This game coming in with an over-under of 42, and Seattle's favored by, looks like by 3 at this point. There's some uncertainty here in this game.
Yeah, it's looking more like Goff is going to play, which, depending on which side of the coin you are, like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Certainly the passing game will run better. It should run better with a healthy Goff in it, and I stress the should, but he's a quarterback with an injured thumb. So it'll be really interesting to see how that goes. If Wolford plays, you've got a little bit more of he's got a little bit more of like the, I hate to say it, the Mitch Trubisky scramble, where he's able to scramble out of the pocket and at least have some threat of a run, which I just don't really see with Goff that much. But Seattle's defense, what they were doing at the beginning of the year, they're kind of like the opposite of what I said with the Colts. You know, with the Colts at the beginning of the year, they were tough, and then they started giving up points. The Seahawks through week 10 were like giving up 30 plus points a game. Like everybody was scoring 30. Then after like I think like the last 6 weeks, they didn't let anybody over 26, and I think they actually led the league in scoring defense. So you've got a defense that's peaking at the right time against an offense that at times has flashed the ability to really put it on a team, but through 2 games, I haven't seen it here, you know, with these 2 teams. So then again, on the flip side of that, you've got Jalen Ramsey that shuts down basically every receiver that he goes against. And so when you take away DK Metcalf, you're forcing other receivers to step up, which is why I'll be playing Tyler Lockett this week, which I'll get to a little bit later. But the Rams defense is really good. I feel like they haven't gotten a lot of attention this year just because their team isn't top of the NFC or anything like that, but their defense is still really good. So I expect this. What'd you say the over or the total points was, like 41? Is that what you said?
It's 42.
42. Yeah, I would not be surprised to see the under on this one at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I guess, if you're looking, there's a lot of really good talent individually, but the way these teams have been playing as of late, they haven't shown the affinity to actually put the points up. So, you know, the whole Russ cooking thing, it was pretty fun and exciting for the first 6 weeks of the year, and then he started having a little bit of the turnovers, and it's like old Pete there just took the keys away from him. They really slowed things down. It's a tough matchup here for DK Metcalf. Jalen Ramsey has held him in check this year.
Yep.
We've seen, the two teams split the series this year, with Seattle winning the most recent contest. It's interesting. We're just a couple of years away, past that that Rams offense that was showing out. We had that fun Mexico City game with the Rams and Kansas City, and those two teams were putting up all of the points, and it's kind of, it'd be what happened there to the Rams. Their pieces have not changed all that much. So but we know that Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are pretty great at their jobs, and if Goff can get them the ball, they can make things happen. Josh Reynolds isn't a bad piece either. They've got a couple of tight ends that can do some work. We'll see. Cam Akers seems to be underpriced, I think, on this slate. We'll see how healthy he is.
Yeah, so for me, that's something to look at, that you've got Cooper Kupp, who's coming off injury. You've got Cam Akers, who's coming off injury. And I was doing a little toying around with some stats, and if I am not mistaken, look at this. The Rams' last 4 games are averaging a negative EPA per play. The last 4 games, negative EPA per play. So you're looking, and actually it's 6 out of the last 7. So Tampa, San Francisco, Arizona, New England, the Jets, Seattle, and Arizona again. The week 13 tilt against Arizona is the one out of those 7 where they actually had a positive EPA average. And then when you look at Seattle, it's almost the other way around. Let me run that again. Okay, so they in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the last 8 only have 1 negative EPA game, and that's average per play throughout that whole game. And it's nothing stellar on either side of it, but you've got one team kind of going down, one team going up, and playoffs are all about momentum. So if you're peaking at the right time, if I had to bet, I'm going to trust the team that's peaking. I'm going to trust Russ. As far as the DraftKings side of this, I won't be real heavy in this game, because I just don't see a ton of points being scored in it.
Yeah, I think from a betting standpoint, I'm probably just staying away from this game. I don't trust Russ at this point, and I'm not sure what we're getting health-wise from the Rams. I really wish these teams would have found their stride a little bit on offense. Defensively, they're both very good. I think the Rams are better defensively, but we'll see. There are obviously some big name plays that you could pepper in some lineups, but I wouldn't be heavy on this game.
Yeah.
So
and I don't believe I am. when I show my lineup here, I will.
All right.
I will go that route.
Well, this last game on the Saturday slate is the one that you got a lot of people maybe thinking that there's a possibility for an upset. We've got the 7-9 Washington football team at home as a 8-point underdog to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Mr. Super Bowl Tom Brady. Over under on this one's 44.5 currently.
Interesting. So this is another one of those interesting ones to me where what Tampa does really well is their passing game, right? So as far as ranks go in the passing yards, I believe they're like top 5, maybe top 7. And then on the other side of that, you've got a Washington football team who is second in the league as far as yards allowed through the air. So you've got that, rock meets hard place, or the immovable object meets the irresistible force. And this will be interesting to see, because when you look at Washington's defense that is good against the pass, they're good against the pass because their front four are vicious and nasty. But then once you get kind of behind that, there's not a whole lot to it. Brady is really good at getting the ball out very quickly. He's got guys with Godwin, AB, who there's this weird bromance thing going on between them. Even Scotty Miller, really, who will be healthy for this game. So it'll be interesting to see if they still take some shots. Mike Evans will be interesting to see how his knee is coming out. I think there is a lot of viable DFS options in this game. I think there's a lot of really viable options that aren't priced too out of control in my opinion. You asked me earlier about the defenses. I will be playing the Washington defense because I think they have the highest upside with a minimal risk, I guess, because because their price is lower, and even if Tampa puts up 28 points, I suspect there's going to be some sack points coming out of this. Chase Young is unfreaking believable. In the other 3 guys where you got Sweat and Kerrigan, and I'm blanking on their 4th, but I expect there to be a couple sacks in this game. And I think that's why people look at this as this could be the upset game, because Tom Brady is really, really good until you hit him a couple times. I mean, you look at him against an Eli Manning-led Giants team. Eli Manning doesn't scare you as a quarterback. What got it was that pass rush. And once you can get Tom Brady uncomfortable, you've got him. You've got him. So that'll be interesting for me to see. I think if they can hit him a couple times early, it'll be a close game. If not, I think Tampa's got this one. What's the spread on this one?
8 currently.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'd probably leaning to, if I was going to bet it, I'd probably take the points and bet Washington. But I mean, we've seen the Bucks be able to put up some big numbers. And Brady's the consummate professional, and he's the GOAT, So
okay,
I just don't see him not winning this game, because we've only been talking about that side of the matchup. Let's talk about the other side.
Correct. So that was going to be my next. Yeah, that was going to be my next point. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but like
we're talking about rotating.
You're not real sure who your quarterback's going to be. Antonio Gibson is not fully healthy. When he is healthy, he's good, but it's a tough Bucs defense. McKissick, to me, who is almost a must play in this game for me, just because, especially if they're going to be behind, there's going to be a lot of dump offs to him. Yeah,
I mean,
the offensive side of that.
lately we've seen though a shift. Terry McLaurin was their alpha receiver. He still is, but we've seen a shift that has seen Logan Thomas really become their number one option in that offense, and he's been producing. A lot. The first half of the year we kept saying, "Man, this guy, it's gonna pop, it's gonna pop." Well, it started popping. So I think that he's a guy you look for to put in some of your lineups. And McLaurin, we saw. It's kind of one of the things we say about Allen Robinson. What would he do with a real quarterback? What would McLaurin do with a real quarterback? Because um, he's been playing with a first round draft pick that got cut in year 2. And I mean, Alex Smith, the story is great. I give him the comeback player of the year. It's awesome. I'm happy to see him out there, but he's just not the guy that's going to come in.
Yep. Yeah, Robbo. Yeah, 4,900 on DraftKings for that tight end position for that slate. But here's the thing: it's high, but if he's gonna get the volume, okay. I mean, if he's getting receiver volume, 4,900 for receiver volume isn't bad.
I mean, really, I'll tell you one of the things that I'll probably do on both of these slates is I'm not going to play probably my usual weekly volume just because there's so much overlap and everything.
There's two main slates. Can you afford to play your normal weekly volume 2 days in a row?
And I say that now, but there's a good chance that I'll get to game time and we'll have be wondering what happened to my budget. But I probably won't play the volume of cash that I normally do. Let's put it that way. So, but these shorter slates, I think a good strategy to be a little contrarian and to save some money is to double stack tight ends. So I could put a 5K tight end in there, and then I could put a 3K tight end in my flex or whatever, depending on, one of them in the flex, depending on when the game time is. And then I can fit in some better guys in the other spots.
My first build, my very first build, had Gerald Everett in the tight end spot and Logan Thomas in the flex spot. My very first build.
I will implore you, please, 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 please look at your lineup, build your lineup however you are, and then put the highest price, most late in the latest game possible into the flex spot. So that you have some flexibility should you need to shift your lineup as the day goes on.
So real quick, I want to flip back over to the other side of that matchup because yes, the Washington offense side is scary, which is why I didn't bring it up at all because there's really, I mean, while there's a lot to talk about from a DFS side standpoint, there's not a lot to talk about. I mentioned I went through and was talking about the Bucks and their scoring offense and then the Washington pass rush. So I'm going to read off in order the defenses that Tampa Bay's faced here. All right, and you just tell me yes or no for a scary pass rush. All right, so yes if they've got a scary pass rush, no if they don't. You ready? New Orleans.
Yes.
Carolina. Denver.
Denver, no.
Chargers.
Not really.
Chicago.
When they played, I don't know. I think it was a little bit better then.
Yeah. Green Bay.
Green Bay, no.
Raiders.
No.
Giants.
Got to think about that. That was their strong point, the Giants' strong point. I would say probably not. I mean, not.
Okay, so
usually,
then you go Saints, Panthers, then you've got Rams, then you've got Chiefs.
Yes.
Minnesota.
No.
Atlanta.
No.
Detroit.
No.
And then you get Atlanta again. Okay, so the reason I went through that, okay, so you had 4 games where Tampa had a negative average EPA. There was 2 against the Saints, 1 against the Rams, and 1 against the Bears. When there's a pass rush, when there's a good D line, negative EPA. So that's one of those things when you look at it where there's that scary option. Do I think Washington wins this game? No. Do I think they have a better shot than the whole 7-9 team coming into it? Yes. I just don't see it though because the offense is scary. But for me, this says everything to me about I'm playing this defense. I mean the price and what this team does against a pass rush, it's easy for me.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't you shoot us your lineup for this slate?
Let's go ahead and pop over to this whole build the lineup thing. Alrighty. I gotta pull it up really quick. I said I built 2 lineups. Let me go ahead and upcoming lineup. All right. So for me, this was a no-brainer. I was going Josh Allen. It wasn't even a question mark for me. I went Stephon Diggs, and then I also went with McKenzie. Now McKenzie will change dependent on Cole Beasley. If Beasley's healthy, I will change that out. To round out my receiving core, though, I went with Tyler Lockett, as I mentioned earlier. Metcalf, I think, has like 43 yards this year against Ramsey, or he averaged 43 yards in 2 games, but that's not going to cut it for a $6,700 price tag. And I don't think they're going to look Ramsey's way a whole lot, so I went with Lockett. In the running back department, I went with Jonathan Taylor. This guy's been on fire, and the Bills are susceptible to the run. Then to go on the other side of that, I went with McKissick because I think they're going to have to use him a lot in that little dump off screen pass, outlet valve type role. In my tight end spot, I mentioned Gerald Everett. He's a nice low cost tight end. If he gives you 2 catches for 30 yards, you've almost got your 2x there. For my flex spot, I went with Antonio Brown. Here's my thing. Even if Evans plays, I don't believe for a second that he's going to be fully healthy, good to go on this one. And Tampa may be already going, you know what, we don't need to overextend him because we're going to need him the next week going forward. So that to me says lots of Godwin and AB and Gronk. And then for the defensive side, like I mentioned, I'm going with the Washington football team. 2,400. It's a no-brainer for me. They may give up 28 points, but I also feel like there's some sack upside there. So that is my Saturday slate.
Coolio. Well, I will bring a little bit of insight and opinion here to the Sunday main slate. And we're kicking this one off with what I think is the game of the weekend, and that's the Baltimore Ravens at Tennessee Titans. Coming in with a whopping over under 54.5. The Ravens are currently favored by 3.5 on the road. Getting a lot of love there. So let's let's break it down a little bit. We got on the home squad, the Titans. We've got Ryan Tannehill, who has been surprisingly good. He puts up points. He's every time you think you're gonna get another big game out of Derrick Henry, all of a sudden Tannehill's showing up with 3 or 4 touchdown passes, and it's it's interesting because that Ravens D is pretty tough. They're eighth. The Ravens D is eighth yards allowed per carry and sixth yards allowed per pass. So, but Titans' run offense is second in yards per carry. They're only 23rd in yards per pass, but they're fourth DVOA. So it's kind of a mixed bag. They're pretty efficient. They've got a couple of big receivers, AJ Brown and Corey Davis on the outside, and then Tannehill likes to pepper it into the tight ends on occasion too. So
or rush it in himself when you're needing a couple points out of Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And obviously Derrick Henry, Mr. 2,000 yards, and we all remember what he did last year in this same matchup. So,
last year, basically, when the Titans came in against Baltimore, it was nobody gave the Titans a chance.
Right.
And this year, I don't know. I've seen a real mixed bag of the Titans don't have a chance. The Ravens don't have a chance because the Titans have Lamar Jackson's number. And then a lot of people are just like, this game could really go any way, which is, why I'm with you, and a lot of people are with you, that this is the game of the week.
Yeah.
For sure. But,
so
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because both of these teams come in as like super high rush rates, yet the over under is so high. And usually, when teams are running the ball as much as these two teams do, it makes it a faster game, as in the clock runs more, and so there's less plays. But combined, the two teams average over 120 plays a game. So you got Lamar Jackson kind of hitting his peak late in the year here. He's a little injured, I think, some earlier in the year. I mean, he doesn't really. I don't think he's the greatest thrower of the ball, but he is so dangerous with his legs. He's been getting it home on the ground lately. Some really stellar, exciting runs, and then J.K. Dobbins. They finally figured, they had been pretty much a 3-headed monster for the first part of the season. They started out with Mark Ingram as that starting running back. They started peppering, they kept Gus Edwards still around. He's hitting it, and they slowly but surely were bringing Dobbins along. And then I don't know, what has it been like the last five weeks, really? They've really gone to they've dialed it back. It kind of since that whole COVID issue. Once they came out of the COVID issue for the squad, they transitioned and made it kind of Dobbins is the one, and then Gus Edwards is still the two, and Mark Ingram has been pretty much relegated to the bench.
He's Lamar's hype man.
I mean, Dobbins and Gus Edwards still get a relatively close percentage of the runs, It's just Dobbins has been getting all of the touchdown, all of the goal line work, and he's broken a few. So, and so Lamar Jackson, since he came back from COVID, DraftKings points, his lowest game was a 22, but which is still pretty good. I mean, it's not bad.
It's also since week 13, it's been Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Giants, and Cincinnati.
Well, I mean, the Tennessee defense is not much different than those.
Here's what's interesting is that and you probably have researched this better because it's your day and whatnot, but Tennessee has no pass rush. They don't have it, but they were talking about this on Good Morning Football. Peter Schrager was talking about it, and it really hit home for me too, is that you don't really need a pass rush against this team. They're not a pass heavy team. You don't need a pass rush.
True.
So if they can just really focus in, and they'll have their guys ready. Don't worry about getting home to the passer. Just make sure that he can't get that big play. Be ready to stop your running back, which has basically been their formula for beating this team before.
So Tennessee is 15th, right middle of the pack in rush efficiency defense. I don't know. We'll see. Last year, Tennessee came out on top, but it was a close game. I think that
Tennessee won their matchup regular season this year too, didn't they?
Oh, you know what? I did not look that.
I'll pull it up real quick, but I'm pretty positive they did.
But what we're looking at also is really the top two receivers for Baltimore. You got Marquise Brown, Hollywood. He's your big play threat, though he hasn't hit a whole lot of big time plays this year. Mark Andrews, who started off the season a little bit underwhelming from what I think people were expecting, though. He has been, ever since Nick Boyle got injured, Mark Andrews has been very productive, averaging about 5 to 6 catches per game. So he's probably one of the favorite tight ends on the slate.
I've got a guy from this game for GPP that we'll talk about later for lineups that I'll be interested to see in. The last time these two teams played this, so they played in the regular season. It was week 11. Tennessee won in overtime 30-24. They gave up 177 pass yards.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Lamar doesn't really pass for a lot of yards anyway. So
they gave up 129 rushing yards.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
It's interesting when you look at the total yards that their defense gave up all year. They have 7 games under 400 yards. That week against the Ravens, 306 is the lowest amount of yards that they gave up all year.
Yeah, and they've given up Tennessee. They gave up 9 games over 90 yards rushing this season, which is kind of I don't know if it's an arbitrary number, but I mean, if you're getting over 90 yards, it's a pretty.
Yeah, they also have 2 games where they gave up over 200 yards.
Right.
Granted, that was Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones. So
we just saw. Did Baltimore set a team record or something last week for rushing yards at like almost 400 yards or something crazy like that as a team?
They 404 rushing yards.
Yeah,
last week.
crazy.
Last week
crazy.
against the Bengals team. But,
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I mean,
contextual.
right. A lot of big names. I mean, here's the point with this game. It's is a huge number, biggest number of the weekend as far as over under is concerned. It should be. I mean, there's a lot of plays that you're going to want to try to mix into your lineups. There's a lot of different ways you can attack it. But definitely I'm going to have some action on that game. Do I want to take the Ravens -3.5? Well, here's the thing. I on my one cumulative playoff team that I drafted, I'm all in on Baltimore, but that was based on where I fell in the draft order.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that Baltimore offense is starting to peak at the right time. And I would not, I like John Harbaugh as a coach. Not that anything wrong with Mike Vrabel, because he's shown some wily moves. That's why this game is so good. I don't know if I can make a pick one way, but I would not be surprised if either of these teams wins. So
let me ask you just for fun, because this game's in Tennessee. This game's in Tennessee. Do you think that makes any bit of a difference with the way things are right now? And do you think if they could do a full stadium, that it would swing your opinion that Tennessee wins this game?
I think that not having a full stadium makes huge difference in these games. I think it has all year long. Would it change my opinion? I haven't really thought about it in that sense. I've only been thinking about the matchup. So, and I don't know if Vegas is this year giving that 3 points to the home team. I don't think they are really, because for sure Tennessee would not be a 6.5 point dog in this game.
Yeah.
So
just curious.
I don't know.
We've talked about this. I think the lack of fans makes more of a difference. It makes the most difference for momentum for teams trying to build a comeback. Personally, that's just how I view it. I was just curious if in this particular case where you could really see the game going either way, if the addition of the home crowd would have swayed you towards one side or the other. That's all.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's hard for me to put that in my head with all the crap we've been through over the last year, and just happy that we've gotten as much football as we have. So, all
right,
so moving on.
Let's.
I'm gonna try not to get into too many rants about this game.
This game right here is why I'm drinking some Jeffersons right now. By the way, very good stuff.
Nice. Now you're gonna make me want to pause and go get some, but no. We got the Bears at New Orleans. Fantasy Labs right now is saying that the Bears have moved to a 10.5 point underdog. The over-under on this game is 47. It's I want to say it's not looking good for the home team, but it's looking really good for the home team in this game. The Bears defense is dinged up. I'm trying to come at this as a fantasy football player and not as a Bears fan. So forgive me, but full disclosure, when the line opened at 8.5, I bet the Bears. And then I also bet them on the money line a little bit too, because the odds were so good, and the odds have gotten better, since then. just in my head, not my head, in my heart, hoping that they could do something and find a little bit of a pass rush, because we know that they've got some supreme talent on their defensive line. But I don't think that matters, because the other side of the ball this year has a better defense. New Orleans is the top 5 defense against the pass and the run, while the Bears have been successful running the ball over the last quarter of the season. They faced a lot of bad teams against the run. Mitchell Trubisky, while he does have the ability to make some big plays, he will most assuredly make some bad plays to offset any good that he does. So I don't see the Bears. I don't see a lot of fantasy plays, DFS plays on the Bears side of the ball. Maybe some Allen Robinson. I know his price has come way down. And maybe Cole Kmet, just because of his price and usage in the offense lately. I don't think that David Montgomery is going to have the game that he's been having lately. On the other side of the ball for New Orleans, we've got a lot of question marks. I mean, Kamara said today on Twitter, "See you Sunday." So I'm guessing he's probably going to get released to play off the COVID list. Michael Thomas, the whole reason they put him on IR was so he could get 3 extra weeks of rest. It's looking like he's probably going to play. The Bears are not good against the tight end, and while he's listed as questionable, I will be surprised if Roquan Smith plays this week. And so Jared Cook, very viable option. Drew Brees has got such a low downfield passing game at this point. It's all dinks and dunks. Do I have much interest in playing Brees in DFS? Probably not. I'm probably looking elsewhere this week. I think probably your best, play Kamara, play some Thomas, play some Saints D. That's basically my take off of this game.
Yeah. As a Chicago fan, of course, I wish I could argue with anything that you just said. But
that's the least optimism I've shown all year about the Bears. And honestly, I wish that they would have missed the playoffs.
Yeah, me too.
And I wish they would be firing Ryan Pace. And I don't know if you want me to do it now, but I might save it for the end to go off about this whole Deshaun Watson trade possibility. So,
well, that's not happening. That's not happening.
I'll try. I'm going to save that for later, but
that's never going to happen.
For the end. But let's stick to our.
So there's the really big thing for me here is the Bears defense has been struggling. They just have not been the Bears defense that we love, that we expect. And losing Roquan is huge. Like it's big. I mean, we saw last week, basically what we expected. Green Bay came in and was like, you suck, but there was a play like right after Roquan was out that, I think it was right after that. What's his name? Daphne, their fullback or whatever.
Number 49.
Just ran right by our backup linebacker, and then there
and
were
our backup
guys
times, hurt too.
There's multiple times where they were like, "Hey, watch this," and they'd run Devontae Adams like in a in the flat, like basically like he'd run 5 yards and just do a crossing route across the middle, and like laughing at Danny Trevathan as he was trying to keep up with him. So I mean, this happened with their fullback who hadn't done anything all year other than lay people out for Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon. But so now we're talking about freaking Alvin Kamara. Now you're talking about Michael Thomas. I don't see any way the Bears come out of this game not losing by 10 points. I just don't see it, because yeah, they've put up a lot of points and Mitch has played good, which he hasn't, but I'm not going into that either. They've played garbage teams. They played garbage teams. Detroit, Houston, Minnesota, Jacksonville. That's who they put all those points up against. That's who they went on their run against. They ran into an actual team and they got smacked in the mouth, as they should have. This is going to happen again. This, to me, is going to look like the 49ers-Packers game from last year. That's what this game is going to look like to me. I don't want to, like, I wish I didn't want to watch it, because it's football. I gotta want to watch it. It's the Bears. I'm gonna want to watch it, but I really wish I could just be like, nope, not watching it, and turn the game off.
Yeah. So we're gonna get a lot of mid weird patterns. Try to throw the ball to Anthony Miller, and he's gonna get drilled, and then we're gonna get deep passes that are over or underthrown to Javon Wims because Allen Robinson's covered by Marshawn Lattimore. I wish,
because when we can't establish the run, they know guard Allen Robinson and you're good.
So I mean, because we know, I mean, I think they know. I think the Bears know. Nagy knows that what they tried to do against the Packers, this short dink and dunk, it's not gonna cut it in the playoffs. You gotta move the ball up the field. Whatever. I don't know why we're still talking about this game. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, and I mean, we probably won't have our deep threat. Like,
right?
We're not gonna have Mooney. So,
I mean, yeah, for the Bears to have had any chance, and look, they earlier in the season. What was it, an overtime game or close? It was a 20-19 game they played against the Saints. But the Bears were a lot healthier than they are now. I just don't see them being able to keep it close this time.
Yep.
So, let's go ahead and move on to the third game of the day. We got Browns at Steelers. Browns have all sorts of problems. This game's over under a 47. The Steelers are a 6-point favorite. This line has moved. They opened at a 3.5-point favorite. It has moved to 6. And honestly, I don't know what's going on. The Browns have got missing pieces everywhere. As far as because of the COVID stuff, and most importantly, their head coach, who's not even going to be allowed to be communicating with his team at all, and it sucks for the Browns. They've been it's been so long since they've been to the playoffs. Let me put it this way: I like Baker Mayfield's moxie. I don't necessarily like his talent all that much. But you got Jarvis Landry, who's just a gamer. I think he's playable and maybe as a comeback play on the other side from a Roethlisberger stack. You got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield for the Browns. But the Steelers run D is 5th DVOA in the league. It's pretty stout. But you know what? Their pass D is first DVOA. So defense is good, and they're getting a key piece. That linebacker that had been out for a while is coming back for the playoffs. So they get even stronger here. Not, I guess, Hunter Henry viable.
Hunter Henry plays for the Chargers, so he's probably not that viable.
Wrong. The other Hooper,
Austin Hooper. There you go.
Austin Hooper. Yeah. Wow.
That guy.
Sorry, there. I got a little. all the H's, the H guys. So, yeah, Hooper could be somewhat viable. He'd probably be pretty low owned. I don't know if Chubb has been great, but I think that this matchup is pretty tough. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more of Hunt on that side of the ball with his pass catching role and likely negative game script playing from behind. He typically has more run in those kind of games. On the Steelers side of the ball, they have essentially no run game, and any offense that they use their short passing game and their long passing game, and everything in between, and they've got 3 really good wide receivers. Deontay Johnson has some sort of telepathy with Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger trusts him the most. You got Juju, who's a big, bad receiver, just makes all the plays that you need him to make. And then you got, by the way, Chase Claypool, who is just like a home run threat from wherever he's at on the field. Not only that, let's throw in a pretty decent tight end in Ebron. So the passing game is stout. I will be playing some Roethlisberger stacks of some sort this week. I don't know. I think this game just kind of treads a little bit of water because of the difficulties for Cleveland without their coach and their play caller. There's Pittsburgh has not given up a 300-yard passing game to a quarterback at all this year. And Baker Mayfield, like I said, I like his moxie, but he hasn't put up a lot of numbers. So,
yeah, I mean, the Pittsburgh not giving up a 300-yard passer, when you look at who they've played, I'm not that blown away by it. I look at that list of quarterbacks from a passing standpoint, and maybe 4 scare me. Maybe. I mean, Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz would have been that week. You got Mayfield, Tannehill, Lamar Jackson, either Andy Dalton or whatever Ben DiNucci they threw out that week. Burrow, whoever Jacksonville was playing that week, whoever Washington was playing that, and then Josh Allen and Phillip Rivers are the other guys. I'm not super worried about that. Their defense is good. They have a very scary pass rush. The not giving up a 300-yard passer, though, when you look at the list, I'm kind of meh. Okay, of course you didn't, because you didn't play a quarterback that puts up 300 yards on a regular basis, so the biggest thing for me, and I think the biggest factor is something that I really wish the NFL would have stepped in and done what I think is the right thing for the integrity of the game, and let Stefanski coach in some way. Let him use like a coach from upstairs, or via Skype or Zoom or Teams, or your Microsoft, so Teams or whatever. But like,
hey Joe.
Yeah, what up, Joe? That was loud, bro.
Sorry. Got excited.
That was clip. Way to go. Way to go, Joe.
Joe's at Disney World, man. I'm totally jealous.
What up from
totally
DDCC9? Yeah, screw you, Joe. Screw you.
Disney. Did I say Disney World? I think I said Disneyland. What the hell? I'm not even drinking.
Yeah, I really wish they would let him coach. Whether it's via video conference or just a regular phone call or something. I feel bad for this team. They scrapped their way in. They really did. They, towards the end, what week was it? Week 15, where they basically lost all the receivers, like a day before or 2 days before, a very important game for them. And, it showed, and now here you are, you fight and you make it to the playoffs, and now your coach can't be there. Like, it's really unfortunate. I hate to see it. To me, it's just another way that Pittsburgh has had one of those like luck out things in the season. I know if anybody watching is a Steelers fan, you're gonna go, oh, but we had our early bye and we had to have all these extended breaks. And from me on the outside going, yeah, you got more time to prepare for a team that played backup players. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, you got more rest. Yeah, you played 3 games in 12 days. Everybody that plays a Thursday night football game does the same thing. So it's not like, that's not a big deal to me. You've had a cakewalk of a season. This has been real easy for you. And the first round of the playoffs, and to me, it's almost like a bye. You've got your little brother basically that you beat up on every time. They're coming to your stadium on Sunday night football. Like, this is just another one of those games where I'm like, whatever. This is a Pittsburgh hand me game. It'll be close because that's what Pittsburgh does. They play to the level of their opponent. But at the end of the day, they're moving on to the next round, and we'll see what happens in the next round.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm not gonna.
I've been drinking. There you go.
Hey, it's not often that I'm the one that can't get an word in edgewise. So
I've got that bourbon anger going on right now.
Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll run down my lineup that I made for this slate. I'm running Lamar Jackson, and I'm stacking him with Mark Andrews at the tight end spot and J.K. Dobbins in the running back spot. I think that pretty much captures 80% of the offense there.
Yep.
That and then I'm bringing it back with Corey Davis on the other side of the ball at 4,800 for Tennessee. I think he's going to be much lower owned than A.J. Brown, and just he does have some upside. We've seen him have some decent games this year. At the other running back spot, I've got to play Kamara. I think it's a must play. And while the Bears overall, I think their run defense has been overall decent. They are bottom 5 in explosive run plays allowed. So
and they don't have Roquan Smith. That's a huge hit.
Absolutely. So and then right now, this is just the way I got this. I've got Deontay Johnson in the wide receiver spot. He's been probably, if I went back and looked, he's probably one of the most played receivers that I've had in DFS this year. He's had 10 targets a game, every game, except for the ones where he's gotten hurt.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And then I kind of brought it back a little bit. Well, in the flex spot, I got Eric Ebron at 3,700, and then I brought it back at receiver with Rashard Higgins at 4,100. He's one of the guys from Cleveland who can make a big play.
Yep.
And then I got Bears defense in there right now for a hope and a prayer, I guess. I don't know. I don't. Can I fit one of the other D's in there? I mean, it's Bears, Browns, or Titans. So it's like, I mean, could the Bears make a play? I mean, they're getting Jalen Johnson back. It looks like.
Yeah, still no Buster Screen though, which is disappointing.
Right. He must got his bell rung pretty good because that's like 5 weeks now out.
Yeah. Yep.
For concussion. So
Yeah, that's been brutal.
so hopefully he's all right. But I mean, what do we talk about? Our defense doesn't matter. It's the last play. You know, you play
Yep.
for upside.
Yep.
You know, maybe they could get lucky and get to Breeze a little bit. I don't know. Or
Yeah, this may be that game where Hicks and Mack are like, hey, remember us? We're pretty good. And Kyle Fuller, picks one off, or it could. There's the potential for this defense to score. Even though we don't think the Bears have a chance of winning this game, there is a potential for that defense to score. And honestly, that's the only way we have a chance of winning this game. The only way.
Oh, for sure. So
real quick, Lindsay, thank you so much for that like and share. Really appreciate it. Hope your stream's going well and you're having a good night. So, at the risk of more of this delicious bourbon anger coming through, you had mentioned. Well, sorry. Do you have anything else to go with this? Do you have anything else to say about this lineup? I should let you go do that.
Nope, I don't.
I should pull that up. I forgot to pull this up. Hey, our chat box is working. Nice. So I mentioned that I have a guy that I think is a good GPP play for this.
Okay.
Miles Boykin, I think, is a good GPP dart this week. And I think maybe good for like 2 for 40 and a touchdown.
Okay. I think any small pieces of that game are someplace that you can probably get some leverage and have a chance. Probably better than the other games, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I'm just looking like I may like I really like this lineup. The only one I'm not like a huge fan of is the Rashard Higgins play, but I understand how it works and how it fits in. I love this lineup. I think the one thing that I might do is maybe swap out Andrews for like a Jared Cook, because again the Bears they're not good against the tight end, and again Roquan has a huge hit there. And maybe give myself a little bit more money there. Switch Higgins out for Boykin, and then I've got a little bit more to play with. That's all. But I like this lineup quite a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that one's Sunday. I got to figure out Saturday first, but
right. I have two more Saturday lineups to build, and I struggled with the first one.
And maybe a full slate. I might tinker with some full 6-game slate cash. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Haven't
He says,
decided.
"I don't know." He will. I promise you.
I got a couple of props that I've placed so far for the weekend.
All right, let me pull us back to our football chat here. All right.
Two
Let's hear 'em.
props. I did. I took the boosted bet with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry both rushing touchdowns. I think there's a pretty good chance of that one hitting. And then I got over 3.5 receptions for Naeem Hines. I think that the Colts are going to have to be playing from behind and passing. And I think that it's a pretty good likelihood that Naeem Hines gets more than 3 receptions. So
Yeah.
there'll be more coming, but those are my 2 favorites so far that I had to get on the board.
Yeah. I'm resisting the urge to go bet those myself right now.
We should mention that there's a no-brainer bet on DraftKings. So if you play on DraftKings this week, you should go do the maximum $25 bet to get even money back on 1 touchdown period being scored at any point this weekend.
Yeah, the DraftKings Sportsbook. You're not going to find it in just the normal DFS app. You're going to have to go to the Sportsbook. So, but yeah, no brainer bet. Double your 25. Be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple of others that I put out there.
Hang on, where's my Gamblers Anonymous number that I can flash across the bottom of the screen? Where is it? If you have a problem, go.
So you wanted my. I made a teaser bet, so I did a parlay for the full 6, game slate, and I bought the points. So what that does is give me 6 points whichever direction I want. So 6 games. I took the Bills at minus half a point. So basically, just I need the Bills to win. And I got the Seahawks +2. I got the Buccaneers -2.5. I've got the Titans +9. I've got the Bears +15.5 because while I think they lose, I don't think they're going to lose by more than 2 touchdowns. And then I've got the Steelers +1. So that would pay out 5-1.
Interesting. All right. So I want to do something really quick. We're going to do a quick pick 'em. A quick pick 'em. All right. Indy, Buffalo. Who you got winning? Yeah, just straight up. I also have Buffalo. Rams, Seahawks.
Seahawks. I'm down with. I'm tempted to. I'm tempted to take the Rams, but I'll take the Seahawks.
All right, I'm taking the Seahawks as well. Buccaneers football team.
Bucks.
All right, that's the one where we're gonna trade because I'm gonna go on the long shot here. Baltimore, Tennessee.
I'm gonna go with Baltimore this year.
All right, and I've got Tennessee. All right, I think we both are going Saints.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want to, and Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh, no brainer.
Alrighty, so we've got two differs here. I I think the Bucks are going to win, but I'm taking Washington on a hope and a prayer to set me ahead here. Real quick, we'll close this because this has been one of our longer ones. It's been a fun one though. This has been a fun one.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This is going to be an awesome weekend of football. We get 6 games in Wildcard Weekend. So I mean, it's the most games on a playoff weekend ever. I think we're lucky to have this, and so I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. I'm gonna ruin your excitement because I'm gonna give you 45 seconds to rant about Deshaun Watson as a Bear. Are you ready?
Okay.
45 seconds. Go.
Here's the thing. I would love Deshaun Watson to be on the Bears. And even if that opportunity became available for them to trade 5 first-round draft picks, it's the dumbest fucking thing in the world to even think that that's a good idea, because then you don't have any picks to build around him. And the teams that are winning Super Bowls are winning it with quarterbacks on rookie contracts. I'm done.
Thank you. Yeah, totally agree. Number 1, it's never going to happen. We're never getting him. Number 2, I don't care who you put back there. If we don't have an offensive line, it's not going to matter. I would rather see this team for 2-3 more years struggle, preferably still without number 10, because I'm tired of hearing about it. Build up your offensive line, then get me a quarterback.
He might be your best chance to get top 5 picks, though, if you keep playing him.
Well, that's also true. If we don't get a line to protect whatever QB we have 3 years from now, it's not going to make a difference. I was pounding the drum for Deshaun Watson that year. Like, I wanted Watson. I thought taking him at 3 was too high. I did, but I thought he was the answer. That's what we needed at the time. And then, we all know what happened. As much as I love Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to come here and we're going to struggle the exact same way. He's a little bit more accurate. He's better at reading defenses, in my opinion. He has the it factor, but he's on his back all the time at this point. Like, I mean, the guy's been hit so many times. And let's see, Allen Robinson, probably not going to be here. So who's he going to be throwing to? Like,
well, here's the thing. If you got Watson, you can't afford Robinson.
I don't know that Robinson stays anyway. Yeah.
The Bears, well, he might if they brought in Watson, he might want to, but I don't know if they could afford it without sacrificing a lot on the defensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball is getting older, so that's going to have to be reworked. The Bears missed their window, and their window was pretty tight anyway because they fucked up the draft so many times over and over. They didn't concentrate on building where you have to start, and that's both sides of the ball on the line. They spent all their money on the defense, and then they brought in a guy when they lost their defensive mastermind. They brought in a guy who runs a 3-4, but he doesn't utilize the talent in the same way that the other guy did. He doesn't ratchet up the pressure. Pagano's soft. I wish they had the guy from the Jets, that guy that was in the Jets that I can't remember his name.
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles. There you go. Yeah. Anyway,
my bourbon brain works a little bit. Yeah, it's not happening, but yeah, we'll just get it out there. Yeah.
That thought came up this week. I've seen a couple of different articles. I know Deshaun Watson's teasing with Bears fans by following the Chicago weathermen and stupid shit like that. And he very well might want to be on the Bears, but
he trolling.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, nope.
It just doesn't work, and you cannot sacrifice the future. It makes your team so bad if you give up any number of years of 3, 4, 5 first round picks. You already screwed it up with Mitch. How many times are you going to set yourself back from developing and building with those? It's those 1 through 4 picks. Now, one last thing before we sign off here. I did see something very interesting. If somebody in your organization gets hired a minority position to another team as a GM or an upper management position, there's a new rule in place where you get a additional third round pick for 2 consecutive years. And there's a guy
compensatory. Yeah, compensatory picks. Yep.
And there is a guy, Champ something on the Bears.
Bailey. It's Champ Bailey.
Champ is getting getting a lot of interest from Denver and one other team.
So he's I believe he's a DB's coach. I mean, it would make sense. The guy was a all-pro DB. So
player assistant player personnel or pro personnel.
Okay, yeah. So if he, because he's executive level. That's right. It's got to be executive level. So if he moves on, the Bears would get 2 additional third round compensatory picks, which could go into it, but I mean, whatever. Your boy, welcome back.
Broncos. Please, Broncos.
Yeah, I mean,
take him.
Here's the thing: you take him, but if Pace is still here, I don't think it matters. That guy has shown repeatedly that he cannot evaluate offensive talent and then draft offensive talent well. He is so bad at it. He did a great job of bringing the defense in, but as you mentioned, he screwed up the offense so bad, we missed our window. The NFL, you have very, very narrow windows. We had maybe 2 years of elite defense. 2 years of elite defense, and they're gone because we wasted them with a bullshit quarterback because he probably shouldn't have been on a starting roster to begin with. But I'm gonna start flipping my table over. And what did you miss? We quote unquote broke down, or we talked about all 6 games. We went through 2 different slates and we each built a DraftKings lineup. So I think I still have Justin's. I'll show you. So we build a lineup for our DraftKings each week. And so for Sunday's slate of the 3 games, Justin's starting Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Deontay Johnson, Corey Davis, Rashard Higgins, Eric Ebron, Mark Andrews, and the Bears defense, just because. And then we ranted about how bad our Bears organization is run. I also built a lineup for Saturday's game, which I can build real quick again if you want to see that, just to talk about those. And then I would imagine next week, hopefully, we will do the same for the next round. Maybe not split the 2 days, but I don't know. Maybe this was kind of fun to do this way, talk about each game and break them out. But we're actually getting ready to call it a night for this one. So I really appreciate you coming in, popping up earlier, and then coming back. Most people don't stay for 10 seconds, but you came back. Loyal listener, brother. Appreciate it. I'll catch you. I'll probably be doing some Apex maybe this week. I don't know. I've got school starting up again today, actually. So if I can fit in some Apex Wednesday night, I will. But I make no promises. I think Missfire's streaming if you want to go say hey to her. But again, really appreciate you stopping by. All right, Justin, let me throw it back over to our little football chat window with our socials. So right below our ugly mugs, you see at JDWest22. That is my handle for Twitter, Instagram. Outside of that, I don't really do anything else. Another bad call across all your social media sites. Justin at JustinMOS is your Twitter, right? Yes. Not inciting anything other than bad football takes and humor. And humor is totally subjective. So the only other thing you missed is we did a pick 'em, and we were pretty much on the same page except for the Baltimore, Tennessee, and Washington, Tampa game. So, all right. Any lasting words out of you there, big bro?
Let's play some football.
Yeah. You did miss it all. Our Friday one is it's a shortened thing. Sorry, buddy, but we will be back next week, and we will go from there. Let's get some football in. Thank you for everybody that's stopping by. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your weekend of football. Feel free to hit us up at Another Bad Call with your thoughts during the games. Like, do that. Or you hit big, let us know. Like, rub it in our faces. All right. Until next week, everybody have a good one. Take care.
Peace.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an incomplete.
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an incomplete.
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an incomplete.
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an incomplete.
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an incomplete.
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is an incomplete.
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review,